So I just started uploading my last video on stimulants and how they raise your blood pressure and your heart rate, and how that leads to cardiovascular disease over time, and in the short term can lead to an increased risk of a heart attack. Now what I did not say in that video is what you can do to minimize those side effects. Now, like I said, stimulants raise heart rate and blood pressure. If you were to get rid of the heart rate component of that, you would lose a lot of the benefits. Uh, Partially because to get rid of the elevated heart rate, you would have to use other drugs that would get rid of the increased contraction of the muscles that it causes and the increased signal from your brain to your muscle. And also because if you lower the heart rate, you're lowering the amount of blood that gets to the muscles. For the most part. I mean, there's exceptions to this, but as far as it matters for most people, if you lower heart rate, you're lowering the amount of blood to your muscles. And lowering blood pressure also lowers the amount of blood to the muscles, but you could lower it just enough to make yourself more safe. And remember, I'm not a doctor. Don't take any of my stuff as medical advice. But if you want to keep that good signal from your brain to your muscles and the good contractions, you could try to get rid of the increased blood pressure part and make the stimulants safer. I touched on this in another video about dark chocolate counteracting the vasoconstriction, which leads to high blood pressure of caffeine, because dark chocolate has theobromine in it, which dilates your veins. More space for everything that's inside them, so lower blood pressure. Other things that are beneficial is garlic also can dilate the blood vessels a little bit. It's also been shown to prevent some damage to the walls of the blood vessels, and remember that you want to keep those walls nice and healthy so that they're elastic and they can grow and shrink, and if you push a lot through them, they don't just snap, that they can stretch. Other things, nitric oxide, L-arginine, and products like that, they tend to increase nitric oxide, which grows the blood vessels. More space once again, so lower blood pressure equals safer. Safer for the short term, you're less likely to blow a valve, so to speak, and safer for the long term because you are going to have less arterial wall damage. Other things you could use would be low doses of niacin, but the problem with that is you'd want to play around with the dosage and the how often you're taking it. A lot of those niacin pills, I have a big problem with them because they have way too high of dosage, and everything dilates insane, and that's why you get all red and you flush and hot and everything. The problem is when it wears off, it does the opposite, and everything contracts. Really high blood pressure when it wears off and does the opposite. I remember my mom took some, and I was worried because, in my opinion, and I'm not a doctor, it's pretty dangerous to have everything constrict so tightly afterwards, especially if you're an older person or if you have some pre-existing heart anything. So yeah, maybe take little tiny bits of niacin every, I don't know how long it lasts, I don't take it, but figure out how long it lasts for you in a little tiny bit and keep it steady. Other things that influence your vasodilation or constriction, which influences your blood pressure, is temperature. Now, this isn't as beneficial if you're going to go to the gym, but say you took the stimulants, you went to the gym, and they last too long. You get back from the gym, your blood pressure is still high, your veins are still constricted. What do? If you don't have any of the other stuff, you can get in the bathtub in some warm or hot water, and that will dilate the blood vessels, lowering the blood pressure. Other things that would lower the blood pressure, but I do not recommend taking, would be diuretics because they decrease the amount of water. Remember I said that certain steroids can lead to more estrogen, which leads to more water in the blood, which leads to higher blood pressure? Well, diuretics sort of do the opposite. Well, they do the opposite of the last step. They don't do all the other stuff like with the estrogen. They just lead to less water, which means lower blood pressure. But don't take them, they're unhealthy unless you really need to. So, yeah, be mindful of your body. If you're going to take some sort of supplement, be aware of what you can do to minimize the health risks associated with it. And consult your doctor, because I'm not your doctor. And give me more ideas for videos, ask away, I'll answer whatever I can. If I don't know something, I'll look into it. I look at real medical research and studies and biochemical stuff, not just people typing on the internet what they think. And I know this is just what I think, but take it as you will. Oh yeah, and like and subscribe.